What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. It is a whirlwind day right now. Streamed a little bit ago on YouTube, X, and Facebook talking about the Macdonald hire, and going to be streaming again later tonight to discuss it further with the night crowd. So be ready for that. And we're obviously going to have a lot to say. And things are, I think the mood right now is very ecstatic. I think people are very happy. People are very intrigued by what is going to come next in Seattle now that we have our guy. And I want to talk a little bit more at length about what happens now. I made that video earlier today talking about the staff, but now I want to talk a little bit about the roster. I want to talk about the personnel, the players. And with a new coach comes potentially new philosophies and new points of view on players. So, one thing that I want to set everybody up for here and make sure that everyone understands, and I think most people do, but understand that the only way that this works the way we want it to work is if we allow Mike Macdonald to do things on his own terms in his own way. I do think there's maybe a limit to that. I think that if Mike Macdonald rolls in here tomorrow and says, okay, I want to trade Devin Witherspoon, then you would probably, as a GM, as GM John Schneider, throw yourself in front of that and go, wait a minute here. Wait a minute. What are you trying to do? Why? You would probably throw yourself in front of that and say, look, you can't do that. That's not happening. But outside of things like that are clearly just destructive and negative and unneeded, I think we need to be ready for just about anything, and I think we need to accept just about any decision that Mike Macdonald could make with this roster, and we have to let him do things his way. And that might mean doing some things that are unconventional, unexpected, and maybe even, traditionally speaking, not wanted. Like, some of this stuff is pretty obvious, like Leonard Williams. I think we're going to keep Leonard Williams no matter what. And no matter who we hired, I think we would make every effort to keep him around. Like, that's easy, right? Keeping Leonard Williams, even if we have to pay him $18 million a year, I think most Seahawks fans will be like, yeah, he's probably worth that, at least right now. And we traded for him. We got to keep him around. So, like, that's easy. I'm sure that Mike Macdonald wants Leonard Williams back in Seattle now. And assuming that he gets that, he'll be happy with that. And I'm sure he's going to push for that. Like, that's the easy part, right? However, the deeper you get into the potential decisions he would want to make with this roster and the things he might dictate, it starts to get a little more uncomfortable. Like, for instance, I talked about this guy a couple days ago, but what about a guy like Jordan Brooks? So, Jordan Brooks, I spoke about a couple days ago, and I said, look, if he is willing to sign for $11.5 million a year or less, I'll do that. Beyond that, I gotta say no, but if Macdonald comes in here and looks at Jordan Brooks and goes, "Look, I can make this work. I can make this work. I can turn him into Patrick Queen. I can turn him into Roquan Smith. I can make this guy one of the best linebackers in the league. Pay him whatever he wants. Give him 15 million a year, 16 million a year, 18 million a year, which sounds absurd, and it would make me uncomfortable as heck. Don't get me wrong." But if Mike Macdonald wants to do that and he believes in his ability to get the most out of Jordan Brooks, who is a very talented player, no matter how you slice it, then I'm on board with it. He can do, when it comes to stuff like that, if that's the decision he wants to make, then that's the decision we can make. So if he decides I want to bring Jordan Brooks back and I don't care what it costs, I don't care if I have to outbid a team like Houston to do it, we're going to do it, then I'm going to be on board with it ultimately. I'm going to say whatever you want. Now, obviously, I'm going to hold you to a high standard when the season starts. If I don't like what I see from Brooks, then that's going to be a big strike against you. But if he comes in and says, that's what I want, then you got to give it to him. Because if you're not going to give the coach what he needs to succeed, what was the point of hiring him? And if he feels like he needs Jordan Brooks to succeed at 15 mil a year or more, then you got to go with it. Now, if he pushes past 20, that's a little different. That at that point as a GM, you have to kind of throw yourself in front of it. But if it doesn't get up to 20, then I think you got to say, okay, what you want is what you get. But beyond that, like Patrick Queen, who is expected to get a lot more money than Jordan Brooks in the offseason, if he says, look, I want to bring Patrick Queen along, I don't care what it costs, 20 mil, 21 mil a year, 22 million a year, whatever it takes, I want to bring Patrick Queen with me to Seattle. I want to give him that monster record setting linebacker contract, and I want to utilize him as the focal point of my new defense here. He's going to be great. He's going to be awesome. He's going to be worth every penny, but we got to get him. Then, as stomach turning as that contract might be for an off ball linebacker, you got to let Mike Macdonald go out on his terms as much as you can. So I'll go with that too. I would be okay with that. It goes even beyond that. What if he comes in and says, look, I can fix Jamal Adams. I can utilize Jamal Adams the way he's meant to be used. I can get money out of him. I want to keep Jamal Adams. Yeah, I wouldn't like that very much. I would wonder, well, what do we do now? Well, how are we going to clear cap space? But if he demands it, you got to go with it. I know that sounds kind of extreme. I know that sounds like we're just kind of letting him be a dictator. And of course, there is a limit here, right? Like if he said, I want to extend Jamal Adams or I want to extend Quandre Diggs, we'd probably have to go, okay, there's a limitation here to what you can dictate with this roster. There is a reason why you're not the GM. But anything he asks that is within the realm of reason, anything he asks that is actually like doable, like feasible, defensible, then I think you just got to do it because again, what was the point of hiring him if you're not going to give him what he feels like he needs? Like giving Patrick Queen 21 million or 22 million a year is not far off from the Spotrac projections. So honestly, that's probably a reasonable expectation of what he's going to get from somebody this offseason. There are people out there who think that Jordan Brooks is worth about that much. I don't think he is, and I don't think I'd go that far, but 18 million a year, I think there's somebody out there who would at least consider giving him that. And if Mike Macdonald's that guy, then so be it. I know it's going to be stomach churningly ugly. I know it's going to be very, very. Yeah, you're left in a bad position if it doesn't work out, but I want to do this the right way. I don't want to tell this head coach, yeah, you're our coach, but we're going to tell you what you can and can't do. So that goes for this stuff. And it also goes for some decisions that are going to have to be made in the next couple of weeks here because I got this article from Field Goals. This is a little bit old. It's several days old now. But it basically breaks down how several Seahawks are going to have parts of their contracts guarantee on February 16th. So basically what that means is there are some players on this team who are going to be almost impossible to move off of as of February 16th. So these guys, I'm going to say this, all these guys listed here, I want to keep them. We have Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, Uchenna Nwosu, Draymond Jones. Now, I don't think there's anything to worry about with DK Metcalf and Uchenna Nwosu. Those guys are not going anywhere. Nwosu, I don't even think we really save money on it. It's just a matter of the guarantee. So it's not like we're saving a bunch of money if we don't let the guarantee get here. So I'm not worried about that. But I'm looking at Geno Smith and I'm looking at Draymond Jones. Like, I want to keep Geno Smith because I think he's a good quarterback and I think he's underpaid and I think we are getting more than our money's worth. But if either Mike Macdonald or Mike Macdonald's offensive coordinator that we bring in here in the next presumably day or two, if they come in here and they go, look, I really don't want to deal with Geno Smith. I really don't like him or I want my own guy, then I think you got to go with it and then you got to just release him before you get to February 16th because after that, after February 16th, releasing him saves no money at all. You could trade him. You could trade him and save that money, but he becomes a lot harder to trade at that point because his money becomes guaranteed. And at that point, teams know that you don't really have a choice and you lose your leverage. So I don't even know if you could trade him realistically, even though I do think there would be a market for him because teams would just know we can wait for him to be released. And there are not going to be that many teams out there that need a quarterback anyway. So you would need to find the right team and then they'd have to be willing to part with something for it. So yeah, if the new guy comes in, the new coach or the new offensive coordinator comes in and says, look, I really don't want Geno Smith, then I'm good with that. I'm good with whatever he wants in that capacity. You want to move on. You want a dual threat quarterback like what you had with Lamar Jackson, or you want to have just a young quarterback, somebody who you can build with over the next decade plus, then I'll say, okay, I'm going to have to put the faith in you. We hired you to do your job. We're going to let you do your job. And that goes for Draymond as well. Now, Draymond's another guy. If he is still on the team after February 16th, that means he's not going anywhere almost certainly because his money becomes guaranteed and we don't really save that much letting him go. So, Draymond Jones, as of right now, he is looking at a kind of a countdown here for his contract. And if we get to that February 16th date and he's still here, he's not going anywhere. But if Mike Macdonald or Anthony Weaver or whoever the defensive coordinator is look at him and go, we don't think he's any good. We'd rather have a little bit of money. Let's release him now. I'll sign off on that too. I just want to give these coaches every opportunity to succeed. You guys should want the same because he's going to be here for a while. And I don't want to do the Jerry Jones thing where you bring in a coach and you're like, yeah, you've got all the power except for this, and this. This, we're going to be doing things my way. You have to take this assistant coach. You have to take these players. You have to do this. You have to do that. I don't want to do that. There is a limit, of course. There's a reason why Schneider is above the head coach. But anything that can, within reason, be done should be done to cater to what this coach and eventual coaching staff want. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks. It's a big day. It's a beautiful day. I'm excited, but I am aware of the fact that some things on this team, including things that I like, may be going. And I've made my peace with that, so should you guys. All right, see y'all later.